Hello, welcome to Top 10 Mods for Fabric 116.3. I'm going to start this video playing with the mod Primal Winter. This turns every single biome into a snow biome. You can see I've got snowy vines and snowy jungle leaves, and all the different textures for wood and leaves has been replaced, and also the same with the stone, terracotta and sand. And another interesting feature about this is that all the oceans are ice. Okay, I decided to go back to the normal world. Incidentally, in those biomes, there's always going to be polar bears and strays spawning, and normal animals will spawn as well, including turtles and things that normally spawn on sand. The next mod I want to look at is a mod that adds a golden carrot icon to the top right-hand corner, and you can see it's called Nourish, and it gives you a breakdown of various nourishment you're getting. So I've looked at this for all the various vanilla foods. So let's give you a little rundown. If you want to get fats, you're going to need to have either cake or some sort of fish item. You can get protein from mushroom stew. We also have carrots for vegetables. Interestingly, from the potatoes situation, poisonous potatoes actually look healthier because they've got no carbs in them. So if you were just going to have some with carbs, for instance, then you may want to you could have that with poisonous potatoes, I guess. Spider eye is classified as protein. I guess it is protein. Kelp is vegetables. Honey is sweets. And the cake has actually got quite a lot of stuff in it. Cake is carbohydrates, fats, and sweets. And this is just sweets. So let's eat some cake and we'll just compare it. So take a look at our carbohydrates, fats, and sweets values. The sweets value is quite low at the moment. Okay, I can't give myself hunger 9. I think that's the highest hunger you can give yourself, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, there's hunger 10. If we try and give ourselves hunger 11, it doesn't actually show up. So it may just be it's just not showing up. Still looks like a pretty strong form of hunger. Anyway, so if we now eat the cake, eat the whole cake actually almost, the amount of hunger we built up there, and we take a look at our nourishment, you can see, wow, sweets, carbs, and fats all at maximum levels. Another mod we've got is a mod called Waystones, so we can see just make the Waystones from stone bricks and ender pearl, and this mod is going to allow cross-dimensional travel. So it's very simple. You just have to use some experience to pay. I've got one in the end city, and then we can go back. Okay, next up we have a mod called Doors of Infinity. Relies on immersive portals. So what you want to do is you want to make these blocks of infinity, just made with some obsidian and ender eye. And then you just want to do a structure like this, just so you can fit a normal door in. And you can do it like, probably the best way to do it is actually, and then you can just put the door in the middle, and the door is made obsidian, iron, and diamonds. Let's try that. And you can see it registered that. And it gives you access to personal dimension area. Okay, I placed some grass blocks in there. Let's have a look, see if we can recreate this and see if we'll still be able to access the same area. So we'll break the door there. And you can see it does have dimension ID. So that's a good sign. So then we can make the... I'm just going to put the corners in just because we're in our survival here. And if we put in our dimension ID 0, okay, perfect. So you can see that is going to retain the dimension information, so whatever we put in there is going to be fine. So you can see if I put in this dimension ID 0, in it goes, and you see after a few seconds it should be able to render this area. Now currently the area is a certain size, so if we wanted to increase the size of it, what we could do is just shift right click. Interesting how it goes to the back of it. So let's just go for the largest size we can with the most upgrades. Just try and... So the most upgrades looks to be 8. And yeah. That is, I think it's 128. So you can get a pretty large personal dimension there. Okay, one other thing we have is the photon transmitters, which are made like this. And we also going to need the photon link. So all you have to do for this is, I've tried a few different variations, but I'll just show you a simple one. Make a wall like this. And we can go into the personal dimension. Do some glass. And there you go, we can now see the viewpoint. There are some features. If you watch my immersive portals spotlight, there are reasons why it's not showing in each of the faces, and there's a few commands you can get to make it work perfectly. And now we've got a mod called Campanion. That's quite a lot of stuff. So the first thing I want to look at is we're going to need one vegetable, one fruit, any grain, and then this is kind of interesting, kind of like works together. So vegetable, carb, protein, and fruit. So you could use that with Nourish, and it's going to get the MRA, and you can see that's going to give you really powerful food. Okay, so we need to make the rope bridges now, which requires logs for the actual bridge, and then the ladders are going to require rope, which is string. So we're going to put a post, say, here, and then let's go right to the same Y level, and let's just go all the way. Yeah, it might be the right spot here. Okay, so let's click there. And let's see, this is quite a long distance, but hopefully it'll be okay. Yep, perfect. So yeah, so then you can just simply walk right over the bridge. Okay, we've also got these skipping stones made out of cobblestone, so let's take a look at these. You can see, and each time these stones will skip across the water, they'll actually do more damage. Let's take a look at the grappling hook now. Wow, that's the best grappling hook I've ever used. So grappling hooks are a mod which are quite difficult to implement. The reason why I said it's the best I've ever used is very simple, because you don't actually have to do anything. When I click here, that's it. I literally I'm not doing anything else, which is kind of what you want from a grappling hook. You just want to be able to get to the location that you click. So from here, I literally take my hand off the keyboard and mouse once I've clicked the cast button. Let's have a look at the range. Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely fantastic. That is definitely the best grappling hook I've ever used. So here we have the leather tanner made with some sticks, and as you might expect, we just put that on there and then we'll tan some leather. Let that process carry on. We have the large tent made with wool tarp and rope. So if we want to be able to place it down, we need to craft it together with a tent bag, and it becomes that. Then we can press left and right, and that will rotate the tent. And then we rotate. Wow, that is a gigantic tent. Let's just check that stuff will be stored in the tent. So we're also going to colour the tent, different colour. You can click on any die to do that. Okay, so, and the way to break the tent is you hold the tent bag and just break a block. And you can see, we can already tell that it has actually stored within the tent all the blocks. Okay, so we can take this tanned leather as well now. And if we take a look at the uses, we can see we can make the tanned leather pouch. And from there we can make various different packs. We can make the camping pack and the hiking pack. Okay, so you can see we put the camping pack there and we press B. We're able to access that. And let's try the hiking pack as well. Press B. A couple extra little things to mention. That's how you create the wool tarp. We've also got the sleeping bags. We also have a spear, which can be used as melee or also as a ranged weapon. So with wolves in the night time, so I think it's 18,000 to 21,000. Set the time to 20,000 here. And if we just get enough wolves, see if we can get one to actually do it. There we go. Oh, isn't that cool? I've got this mod called Just Enough Resources. It actually shows you the chances for a spruce log to spawn. That's really cool. Air blocks as well. Wow. Now we have a mod called Identity. So when we kill that creeper, it says Unlocked Creeper Identity. You can see when we press the hotkey, we can go into a menu. We can change between the different modes. So for example, to get the Enderman now. There we go. So that's one way we could unlock the Enderman identity, for example, and then we could switch to the Enderman instead. Kind of interesting as well. You can still get the eating particles. So with the Enderman, we can teleport like an Enderman. We still use an Ender Pearl, but it will give you instant teleportation rather than having to wait for the arc of the fireball. Then if we look at the others that we've got, that I believe, you can see each of the different animals. You can see the height of obviously the height is affected. It's very similar to Morph here. Blaze, we can shoot out fireballs. The Ghast, you need to use fire charges. From what I can tell by the wiki so far, a lot of the other animals do not have any abilities yet. Next up, we've got a mod called Realistic Bakery Products. So in villages, you may find this crop here. And it's going to give you strawberries, and you can use that to make pies and seeds as well. So you can see there's other pies as well with pumpkins and berries. You can also make this, which is called Big Bread, which is we cook raw big bread, and that's made with dough, and it's made with flour. And interestingly, there are like a few different recipes for types of flour. We've got chocolate dough, and honey dough as well. And that will make quite a few of these. If we place the big bread down, I think we can cut it with a knife. So that gives you a food item. I think there's no way to eat it. You have to use the spoon to eat the cake. Also make the cheese block with milk, mushroom and egg. That also you need to cut the slices. You can make a raw pizza with a raw flatbread, beetroot, mushroom and a cheese slice. That gets you the pizza. Place the pizza on the ground. And there's an interesting cookie recipe as well. If you can convert a cookie into crumbs of cookie, you can combine it with chocolate dough to get a raw chocolate cookie, which you can then cook. So more of these blocks are placeable. There's also this, which is strawberry hay. I've never actually heard of that before. That is also a placeable block. Interestingly, you can actually bone meal the strawberry hay. This, I would imagine, is a way to do it without a water source. The next mod is Cave Biomes. And what this mod does is it separates the caves into two layers. So you've got above Y29 and below Y29. And then these higher ones, so for instance, you can see I'm in a swamp at the moment. So you can see we're going to get certain elements like vines and mossy. So that will be what happens in a layer 1 biome. But then if you go down to a layer 2 biome, which is y equals 29. So for instance, here we have an example of a level 2 biome, which is a mushroom cave. So you can see we've got mycelium, quite an expansive room. And in general, it's much more expansive. It looks a bit like the 1.17 update. Here's an example of an obsidian cave. So in general, these lower caves, they all take their name after just the name of a block. Another example here, we can see some short grass. Tends to just be this sort of like large circular room. I never knew you could do that in spectator mode. So we're actually in the Tiger Mountains. And there's a huge bunch of sandstone and cactus down here. So these are, so I mean that's an example of showing that the lower caves are biome independent, whereas the upper caves are dependent on the biome that they're located in. Just to point out, there are examples of ore caves as well. You can look at this redstone generation. This is pretty high. This block of redstone is at level 30. And you can see just the way that the redstone is spawning is not... and it's the same for a lot of the rare minerals like diamonds, etc. Next up we have a mod called Eldritch Mobs. And there's 3 different tiers of mobs. It's kind of based on infernal mobs. So you can see we've got... This guy's got about 180 health. So 4 times the health normally is the average. So yeah. And you can see we're going to get a random enchanted item upon death. But yeah, I just killed an Eldritch zombie and got some emeralds, a golden shovel, End City treasure, and with the ultras you're going to get shipwreck treasure. I've got a mod called Monster of the Ocean Depths, which is based on a... Interesting, we get particle effects when we use the enchantment from it. I wonder what happens when we... I'll show you the mob in a moment, but I did notice there was an enchanted book. Okay. It may just be a... It doesn't inflict any actual... So yeah, it just gives you powerful... So yeah, let's look at the actual monster. This is going to spawn... It's called a lurker. It's based on mob A from the mob vote. And what it do is it will drag you in, and also it can speed up if you're in a boat. And you see, when you hit it, it doesn't actually take the damage. It does go into like a rollback, though. You have to do, I think it's 8. And it will drop this, which is a serrated tooth. So with that serrated tooth, you can actually make this. So the fish trap you have to place in a river or ocean biome, basically like that. Okay, so you can tell there that the texture of the fish trap has changed. And store up to 4 items. So I just want to check with the boat as well. So let's get in a boat. So you can see it does actually increase speed when you're in a boat. So that's kind of cool, right? And you can actually take you out of the boat. Drag you down. No, I actually got a heart of the sea that time. Okay, now we have a mod called Dynocaps. So we need to make a body and a cap, and then we combine that into the Dynocap. Now you can see I've got this box around me. So now it says Dynocap filled. So when I go to another spot, I can move it around. Okay, let's take this tree now. If we shift right click, we can actually see what's in there. We can choose to place air or not. So the other thing to notice as well is that when you're creating the Dynocap, if you shift right click, you can actually adjust this. So the maximum size you can get for the Dynocap is 15 by 15 by 15. So let's take a larger area now. Okay, that's a little bit more impressive, right? Okay, that's actually really cool when you do a large area like that. There are these other blocks as well, rusty cap, restricted cap. The only other block that I'm pretty sure does work is the cap case. So you can store up to 4 Dynocaps in there. And that, I believe, is the end of the video. So thanks for watching.